Hello. Hopefully everyone has or is in the process of receiving their meal, but we would like to go ahead and get started with our program for today's lunch. So first, welcome to Anchorage, welcome to the SSA meeting. We're excited to be here. My name is Heather DeShon. I am currently serving as president of the society. And I hope that you are already experiencing the exciting week of networking and learning that we have on tap. All right. On behalf of SSA, I'd like to thank everyone who made this meeting possible. First, our generous sponsors, Kinemetrics and ITSE. Our dedicated co-chairs of this meeting, Carl Tape and Michael West. They shaped this meeting over the course of many months, and they had excellent support from the very small but mighty team of SSA staff and contractors who are also with us today. And certainly, SSA would like to thank each of you. Thank you for taking the time out of your schedules to be here, for submitting your abstracts, for leading the amazing workshops that took place before the meeting began, for convening sessions, and providing thoughtful feedback that draws so many of you here year after year. This is by far my favorite meeting to present seismology research, and I hope that you feel the same. So today, our community is nearly 3,000 members strong. We work across 6 continents on the SSA mission to advance seismology for the benefit of society worldwide. This meeting brings us together in one place where we can talk seismology face-to-face with newcomers, as well as longtime friends and leaders in our field. I encourage you to make new connections every chance you get this week so that the early career and student members of our society realize that they are welcome and they are excited to come back and help us continue seismology excellence for new generations. So let's start now by taking a quick moment to turn to your neighbors and make sure that you have introduced yourself to your table. I'm serious, go. All right. So, making these connections you make at lunch, the connections that you made on the field trip, the connections you make at the poster session are critically important to scientific progress. That's why SSA has recently expanded its yearly offerings to include a series of topical conferences in addition to the annual conference. Topical conferences take place in the fall. I hope you'll join us in Vancouver this October for a deep dive into photonic seismology. I just like saying that, photonic seismology. We'll meet again in April for the 2025 annual meeting in Baltimore, and again in October of 2025 for a conference in Denver focused on environmental seismology. These are hot topics. You can see a lot of new and exciting content on them here at this meeting, but the topical meetings provide a venue to take a much more deeper dive and get more student support into these fields. All right, the Society's Board of Directors held its annual meeting this week to review the progress made by our committees, as well as the Society overall. I'm pleased that SSA remains in solid financial health, right? Producing more in-person and online programming than ever before to help you, our members, learn, network, and advance our mission. We continue to direct a great deal of this support toward the student and early career members who need it most. SSA not only offers grants to help these members participate in our own meetings, but SSA offers global travel grants that help our student and early career members make connections at other scientific meetings worldwide. And the new Paul Andrew Spudich Travel Grant Program directs the same support to students whose research focuses on ground motion. The Society's Communities Grants Program is open to every single member of our society, offering financial support to help you create small seismology meetings and workshops of your own. I encourage you to take advantage of this. I have more good news to report from the SSA board meeting. Susan Billick from New Mexico Tech was elected SSA's 2025-2026 president following a unanimous vote. Chris Pankow and Jake Walter were reappointed as secretary and treasurer, respectively, and Andreas Fitchner and Debbie Kilb began their service as our newest board members. We're grateful to each one of their commitments to SSA's continued success. We remain very proud of the quality of SSA's 3 peer-reviewed journals. I'd like to express deep gratitude to our editors-in-chief. Martin Mai, who serves at the helm of the Bulletin of the Seismological Society of America, Allison Bent, our longtime leader of seismological research letters, and Keith Coper, who heads our first open access journal, The Seismic Record. These talented and hardworking members continue to crank out top-notch issues with the help of a dedicated network of volunteer editors that are listed in your programs. Over the weekend, the board held a retreat focused exclusively on our publishing program. And SSA is moving forward with an important action item. We will be offering open access options for both SRL and BSSA. Be on the lookout for more news on this very soon as we roll out exactly the structure of how this will work. The changes will go into effect for SRL and BSSA at the start of 2025. When you support our journals, you are making an investment in SSA's future. Our journals help make everything we do possible. The grants programs that I talked about, our government relations work, the mentoring, training, and workshops that you all attend throughout the year, these are all supported by revenue generated through SSA's publishing program. Another important example is, in fact, this annual meeting. You should know that your registration fees cover only about, that's very loud. Okay, let's talk about your registration fees. What did you pay for? All right. Your registration fees cover only about 60% of the cost of this meeting, right? The SSA journals and revenues for those journals help cover the rest, all right? I understand, the board understands that the landscape for scientific journals, particularly professional societies journals, is rapidly changing. Our mission requires that we are a leader in the open exchange of impactful research, right? I ask for your continued support. When you publish your work with SSA journals, or you encourage others to do the same, or you read great works by your colleagues, think of the SSA journals, right? You won't find higher quality peer review anywhere else, and we are always working to more rapidly turn around publications. SSA's more than 1,000 volunteer reviewers are the unsung heroes of our journals. That's you. Your insight, their insight, and expertise help ensure that SSA continues to publish only the most accurate and excellent science. That's why I'm really thrilled right now to give some much-deserved praise to 3 reviewers who went above and beyond the call of duty this past year. If you are with us today, would the following members please stand? Rebecca Harrington, Sue Hoff, and Clara Yoon. I know Sue's here. This trio of scientists was selected by the editors-in-chief for their high volume of thorough and profound reviews, always insightful and constructive comments, and quite often under very demanding deadlines. So again, please join me in a round of applause for Rebecca, Sue, and Clara. There's a spirit of paying it forward in everything we do for this society. You see it in the monthly SSA Connects mentoring program, where veterans offer career advice and professional tips to newcomers. So the awards that we are about to bestow are another shining example of the teamwork that is the hallmark of our supportive community. As the immediate past chair of the honors program, I've had a close-up view of the care and thought that our members put into both the awards nominations, but also the committee reviews. Every one of us here today can help make sure that our outstanding colleagues and scientists continue to receive recognition for all that we do in the community and for seismology. So please, if you know of someone who deserves one of these awards, I encourage you to connect with your colleagues while you are together this week and get nominations started. Some awards are due in June, most awards are due at the end of September. Don't let the beginning of the academic year for many of you keep you from putting together a nominations package for a deserving colleague. Now, before the presidential address from Ruth Harris, it's my pleasure to begin our 2024 honors ceremony. These honorees have distinguished themselves through their innovative and often paradigm-shifting research, their early career contributions to the field, and their exemplary commitment to public service. We honor them today for their outstanding contributions and for the inspiration that they provide to our entire community. Do-young Kim is the recipient of the SSA's 2024 Charles F. Richter Early Career Award, which honors outstanding contributions to the goals of the society by a member early in her or his career. The award is supported by our William B. Joyner Memorial Fund. Do-young Kim, also known as DK, which I'll use for the rest of the talk, is an assistant professor in planetary science in the Faculty of Engineering at Imperial College London. He is well known for his scientific productivity in a wide range of areas, including his recent work on Martian seismology. His innovative research in seismic imaging and in finding novel ways to process seismic wave data have greatly influenced both Earth and Martian seismology. He has illuminated subsurface structures ranging from the aquifer level, shallow magmatic systems beneath volcanoes, subducting slabs, such as those that we're standing on today, and pervasive scatterers at the core mantle boundary, such as the ultra-low velocity zone beneath the Marquesa that he and his colleagues discovered and described in a 2022 paper in Science. Not BSSA. All right. Our nominator described the array of scientific targets that DK has tackled as stunning for someone so early in their scientific career, pointing out that his work on Mars is helping lay the very foundation of Martian seismology and earning him recognition as the world authority in this nascent field. As a NASA Insights team's frontline scientist, DK has applied his expertise in method development and observational study to Mars, looking at how seismic wave observations on the red planet can be applied, and sometimes misunderstood, in studies of Mars' crustal structure. His essential paper in Martian seismology as a first author include a 2022 paper in Science that analyzed the first detection of surface waves on the planet's surface after a fortuitous meteor impact, and a 2021 BSSA paper that noted the potential pitfalls of analysis and interpretation of seismic data collected by the InSight mission. Also known as an outstanding collaborator, DK has been hard at work on a suite of joint inversion toolkits that will be useful to address geophysical data sets collected by lunar and Martian missions in the future. So please join me in a round of applause as we welcome DK, or Do-Young Kim, to the SSA stage to receive the 2024 Charles F. Richter Early Career Award.
Thank you, Heather, and all the board members, staff members of the SSA, and of course all of the participants that we have here today. It's a great honor to receive such an award. I think I'm very fortunate that I was able to interact with many of the great mentors in the community who has been providing endless support for their early careers, junior colleagues to excel in their career. So I really appreciate Larry Brown, Mauya Barajangi, Jeff Abers, Kate Karanen at Cornell University when I was a PhD student, Ved Leckage, Nick Schmer at University of Maryland when I was a postdoc, and also my former supervisor at ETH Zurich, Domenico Giardini, when I was a senior scientist. I'm also very grateful for our pioneering planetary seismologists in the community, including Philippe Lagnonier, Mark Panning, Bruce Menard, and also a lot of the InSight science team members, engineers, and young careers who put so much effort to understand the dynamics and interior structure of Mars. So thank you all very much, and I will try to pay this back by providing more support to the planetary as well as terrestrial seismology community, as well as mentoring the next generation scientists and students. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, DK, and congratulations again. Next, Harley M. Bentz is the recipient of the SSA's 2024 Frank Press Public Service Award. This award honors outstanding contributions to the advancement of public safety or public information relating to seismology. Ben's a former USGS technical coordinator for the Advanced National Seismic System and the director of the USGS National Earthquake Information Center, is recognized for his work leading to profound improvements in how earthquake science is communicated to students, the media, and decision makers. He played a key role in the development of ANSS and the modernization of earthquake operations within the participating seismic networks after co-authoring an assessment of seismic monitoring in the United States, the 1999 congressional report that led to the formation and funding of the ANSS. He also helped to modernize USGS earthquake analyses, reporting procedures, and facilities, in particular revising the data processing and operations at NEIC to become less labor-intensive and more automated. Under his leadership, rapid notifications, web services, and data feeds became routine as ways to rapidly disseminate earthquake information to government agencies, emergency managers, the media, and the general public. His use of innovative communications products, especially ArcGIS story maps, has helped place complex events into tectonic and seismological context so that they are understandable to a broad audience in both newsrooms and classrooms, and my classroom. Along with his mentorship of dozens of graduate students, postdoctoral students, and early career scientists, Harley forged a number of international partnerships during his time at USGS. He aided in the development of the Caribbean and Infor networks, an expansion of the global seismographic network, and expanded ties with the Nuclear Test Ban Treaty Monitoring Community that analyzes global seismic signals through the IMS. High-quality digital data from each of these networks is now available in real time for NEIC as a result of his efforts. So please join me in a round of applause as we welcome Harley Bentz to the SSA stage to receive the 2024 Frank Press Public Service Award. It's real.
Wow, it is real. Oh, thank you so much.
It is real. We have to pose for a picture. We have to speak.
You know, so for the people that know me well, I'm rarely speechless, and you know, I'm very surprised by this, and I'm so honored by the SSA for receiving this award, and thank you so much. But I need to point out that my career was defined and framed by many other people. I came into the survey 30-some years ago, and we've had remarkable leadership, within the earthquake program with Rob West and Bill Leith, John Filson, and then now, the remarkable Gavin Hayes and Jill McCarthy. And so I have to thank them for always encouraging me to improve and go beyond what we were routinely doing, at NEIC. And then, within the survey, we had, I learned network seismology from some of the best, David Oppenheimer, Lynn G., Ray Buellin, the iconic Ray Buellin, and, Dave Wald's been incredibly influential in my career. And all of these people always provided, lots of time to talk about things, and more importantly, to tell me no when I was about ready to get us into a lot of trouble. And so I very much appreciated that. But, one of the things that's perhaps unknown or underappreciated is the contribution of the academic community to the evolution of NEIC and network monitoring in this country. So for instance, Bob Herman, Antonio Villasenor, Kevin Furlong, Matt Herman, and others, they sent their students to Golden every year. They came countless hours to sit there and help us write tectonic summaries and the map products for which we were well known. And we just simply couldn't have changed NEIC without the contribution of the academic community, which is which is represented here at SSA. I'm so thankful for receiving this award, and I'm also completely humbled that I'm tied to Frank Press through this award. It's extremely humbling, but thank you so much, and yes, thank you.
Thank you, Harley. All right. Douglas Scott Drager is the recipient of the SSA's 2024 Distinguished Service Award, which honors outstanding service to the society. Drager is a professor of geophysics at the University of California, Berkeley, and he served as SSA's Publications Committee Chair between 2016 and 2022. During his tenure, he's helped SSA usher in a broad range of important initiatives. He was at the helm of both the launch of the Seismic Record, or TSR, the Society's first fully open access journal, and the appointment of Keith Coper as its inaugural editor-in-chief. As chair, Doug also oversaw the appointments of Martin Mai and Allison Bent as new editors-in-chief of BSSA and SRL, respectively. During Doug's time as chair, he has helped guide the redesign of BSSA and SRL to improve their readability and modernize their design to keep pace with online access. Working with then SRL Editor-in-Chief Zhigong Peng, Doug aided the launch of SRL's Emerging Topics column. Doug oversaw the revisions of publication policies for all three of the journals, including the author sharing policy, preprint policy, supplemental content policy, all to ensure the rigor and standards necessary to maintain a healthy and navigatable publishing program overall. We all benefit when we download those nice PDFs. He recognized the challenges and opportunities facing SSA in response to federal and other mandates for open access publishing and authors' and readers' demands for short-form publications. Given the ever more rapid changes taking place in scientific publishing and the scientific publishing arena and confirmation of federal and European mandates for open access publishing, the work he championed early on is clearly prescient and has led to the changes that you'll see in the upcoming year. Doug regrets that he can't be with us today to receive this award, but please join me in a warm round of applause for him and all that he has done for SSA. All right, now it's my pleasure to bestow SSA's highest honor, the medal that recognizes an impressive career filled with outstanding contributions to seismology and earthquake engineering. Norman, oh my goodness. Messed up the most important part. I still can't do it. Norm. Norm Abramson is an adjunct professor of civil and environmental engineering at the University of California, Berkeley, and the University of California, Davis. And he's also a former engineering seismologist at Pacific Gas and Electric Company and is the 2024 recipient of the SSA Harry Fielding Reed Medal. So Norm, would you please step forward to the stage and again allow us to give you a big round of applause. So it's the Reed Medal, we can applaud twice. So Norm Abramson is a global leader in the field of probabilistic seismic hazard assessment. Within the seismic hazard community, he is known for developing new methodologies as well as refining state-of-the-art practices in ground motion modeling for crustal and subduction earthquakes, methodologies for assessing and scaling ground motion time series for engineering applications, validation of 3D simulations, and treatment of uncertainty for PSHA. Across industry, academia, and independent consulting, and across the globe, Abramson has offered essential expertise in assessing seismic hazard for nuclear power plants, dams, electric grids and substations, office buildings, water and gas pipelines, high-speed rail lines, tunnels, and bridges. His contributions have had a significant impact on the National Seismic Hazard Mapping Project, which integrates information from seismology, geology, geodesy, and engineering into the national seismic hazard models for the United States and its territories. Norm is also recognized for his leadership in the next generation ground motion attenuations model projects, including NGA West 1 and 2, NGA Subduction, and NGA East, which established new baselines for seismic hazard assessment in the United States. In their words for Abramson, his colleagues singled out his creative problem-solving abilities and his leadership at the interface of earth science and engineering, where they said he has an exceptional knack for sharing the science of seismology in an accessible form with the engineering community. Norm's publications include more than 170 referee journal papers and nearly 100 referee conference papers on earthquake ground motion and seismic hazard. He has received numerous honors and awards throughout his career, including the 2006 William B. Joyner Memorial Lecturer, the 2009 Earthquake Engineering Research Institute's Distinguished Lecturer, the 2012 2012 Bruce Bolt Medal, the 2023 American Geophysical Union Gilbert F. White Distinguished Award and Lecture, and election to the U.S. National Academy of Engineering in 2018. He has served in leadership roles on the boards of directors for SSA, EERI, the Pacific Earthquake Engineering Research Center, or PEER, as many of you know it, and the Consortium of Organizations for Strong Motion Observation Systems. So please join me in a round of applause. There you go. Shake your hand. Get our picture.
Thank you. This was a bit unexpected for me because I'm working in this field between seismology and earthquake engineering. This means nobody's happy with what you do when you're working in the middle. And I'll talk about a little bit. I was very fortunate in timing in how I got into this business. Many of you may not know, but early on in my career, a few years after I graduated, my advisor, Bruce Bolt, decided he's going to stop doing consulting, or at least cut way back. And on a nuclear project in California, he told the utility he was no longer available and told them to hire me. And so I was put on a review panel with Clarence Allen and Alan Cornell and me in my 20s. I walked into the room and the utility people were shocked. They looked at me and said, "You're too young to be doing this." And the next thing they told me when I sent them my bill for the services, they said, "You're not charging enough. You don't look, you're not a credible expert if you're not charging more." So remember that the value you put on things actually matters in terms of people's interpretation. But those two, working with those two, started to teach me really what's going on, what's important. That was one of Alan Cornell's great gifts. He could look at something very quickly and dive to the important issue. And I also, as I did more and more reviews, started to see what matters. Where are our problems? Where does the industry not know how to solve it? I then also started to work for Paul Somerville, who really was the first person that showed me, let's take seismology theory and work, simplify it, and turn it into an engineering application. Okay, how can we actually move seismic theory or all of the research that you're doing and bring it to application? Because publishing journal papers doesn't lead to seismic safety. It doesn't make a change. You've got to find a way to implement it. And that implementation requires simplification. So that's where we get the scientists a little upset. They'll have a beautiful model and we're gonna go chop it up and reduce it. A lot of that also came to me was in working with Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks was a key person working with Alan Cornell, and he would beat on me, you've got to make it simple in your explanation, right? So he would say, if you're 80% right in your explanation and people understand it, it's much better than being 100% right and nobody understands what you're doing. So I took that same concept a little further, in that if I get 50% of the physics of your model, and get it, and it's implementable, and we use it in practice, and we actually improve seismic safety, that's a lot better than your 100% right model that never gets used and just sits in applications. So that's really, going forward here, we have now started to train a lot more younger people to do this. There's a whole group of people that are now working on taking seismology theory, making it simple enough that the engineers can understand what you're doing and accept it. It's still too complicated for them, so they're unhappy that we've made the problem more complicated. The seismologists, researchers are unhappy that we haven't honored their full physics in their model. But that place where everyone's mad at you, that's our sweet spot of trying to make this business move forward. This is what, so as we go forward, there's a whole, as I said, a whole group of younger people now doing this. And so when they take your research and they simplify it, don't get angry with them, right? You should really be happy that you're gonna see your work actually implemented and reducing seismic risk, because that's part of what we're doing. Natural hazard research doesn't do anything until we find a way to use it, right, and implement it. And that's really where I've been working all this time, and I'm grateful for those people in the beginning that sort of headed me in this direction. As many of you know, Tom Hanks passed away recently, and he probably had the biggest influence on me in trying to be sure that we simplify things, make it understandable, and not be so tied up in all of the details of what you're trying to do. So be happy when you see your model simplified. That's a good thing, right? That things are moving forward, and you'll see an impact going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Norm. Now it is my great pleasure to introduce Ruth Harris. Ruth, as you all surely know, is one of the most brilliant researchers in our field. Her studies of large earthquakes, what causes them to start, stop, and trigger other earthquakes, and how they generate strong ground shaking, among other important work, has earned her accolades, including the U.S. Department of the Interior's Meritorious Service Award, the UC Santa Barbara Department of Earth Sciences Distinguished Alumni Award, and election as Fellow of the American Geophysical Union. There couldn't be anyone more genuinely and generously dedicated to SSA. Not only was this her second term as president of our society, Ruth is on her 13th year of service to our board and also serves as an associate editor of the Seismic Record. During the past year, she's championed the addition of open access options for all of our journals, helping pave the way for some exciting changes we'll be announcing soon, and helped SSA establish its newest grants program. Ruth is a natural leader. She's a strong supporter of women in seismology, and she's an incredibly forward thinker whose decisions never fail to consider the best interests for SSA as well as our future. So it is my great honor to welcome her to the stage. So please, a warm round of applause for SSA's 2023-2024 President, Ruth Harris.
Thank you so much, Heather, for the very kind introduction, and I'm super happy that you're SSA's new president. And now I need to get my papers in order and not read Heather's by mistake, or you'll have a very interesting address here. I also want to thank the many people who other people who also make SSA happen, both this excellent annual meeting and the many additional rewarding activities we do other parts of the year. Most especially, I want to thank our outstanding SSA Executive Director, Nan Broadbent, and her talented, hardworking collaborators. And now for my speech, and this is always the really hard part. I remember previous presidents telling me how they worried about their speech from the second they found out they were going to become president. And one of my good colleagues and friends even sent me Kay Aki's speech from many years ago now, and I was too scared to even look at it because I knew that's going to be, whoa, superior, outstanding scientist, famous seismologist of our past. So I'm going to go a little bit of a different angle. Who am I? This is one of life's existential questions. Luckily, though, I have answers. According to my auto-renewed driver's license, I am 5 feet inches tall, or pounds. Well, at least I was a while ago. And I live in the San Francisco Bay Area, the longtime home of SSA. According to my electronic health record, I am a pleasant woman. But I wonder if they ever don't write that, or what you have to do to be described as otherwise, and I really don't want to know. I am also an earthquake scientist who started her earthquake career memorizing the years 1881, 1901, 1922, 1934. Okay, raise your hand if you think you know what I'm talking about. 1966, And if you do know what I'm talking about, raise the number of fingers corresponding to the last number in the year. So if you think the year ends in a 1, raise 1 finger. The year ends at 2, raise 2 fingers. 3, raise 3 fingers. 4, raise 4 fingers. You all raised 8 fingers, right? For the year 1988, plus or minus 5 years. The 2004 magnitude 6 Parkfield earthquake was a lesson for us in many ways. It was a test of scientific perseverance, and it was a test of scientific hypotheses. Let's start with the former, scientific perseverance. Remembering that the last magnitude 6 earthquake in a sequence of many apparently similar magnitude 6s in the years 1881, 1901, 1922, 1934, and 1966 had occurred in 1966, and knowing that by the mid-1980s, there was a prediction of that the next one would occur in 1988, plus or minus 5 years. By the year 1994, the prediction window had closed. Prominent voices declared the Parkfield earthquake experiment a failure. Through the rest of the 1990s and into the early 2000s, amidst a clamor by some to defund and uninstall the instruments on this portion of the San Andreas Fault, the project also became unpopular to lead. So really cool people got to lead it in the beginning, and then less cool but equally dedicated people got to lead it after that. So fortunately, thoughtful local experts were found to continue the job. We're also really lucky in that the naysayers did not win. This meant that when the southern end of the San Andreas Fault's creeping section jolted awake from its slumber on September 28, 2004, instruments were ready and adeptly recorded the next long-awaited magnitude 6 Parkfield earthquake. This gave us a chance to test some long-standing hypotheses. For starters, the 2004 earthquake did not repeat some notable behavior observed for its 2 most recent magnitude 6 predecessors. For example, there was no 17 minutes earlier magnitude 5 foreshock as had occurred in both 34 and 66. And in contrast to expectations, the darn 2004 earthquake primarily ruptured in the opposite direction from its predecessors, magnitude 6 predecessors. This, what I call wrong way earthquake, also was in contrast to some theory popular at the time. Perhaps most importantly, the earthquake was smaller than it should have been based on multiple strain accumulation calculations published in previous years. What did the 2004 Parkfield earthquake show that we got right? The creeping section of the San Andreas did halt the earthquake as its rupture propagated northwestward. Afterslip was considerable. The pattern of surface rupture, keep banging the mic. The pattern of surface rupture was strikingly similar in 2004 to what had been measured for 66, and other aspects. Now let's return to the science-people nexus with the question, who are you? First, you're a person who wisely signed up to attend this excellent annual meeting, and you're also likely a member of SSA. Although if not yet, please talk to Nan Broadbent or Monica Liu or any other SSA staff member who will cheerfully sign you up in a flash right after the luncheon ends. As a scientist or engineer or policy expert or social scientist, you may be the leader, the first to discover exciting new frontiers. Or perhaps you're following the new frontiers, learning from them and testing the bright new hypotheses and data. Perhaps you're the teacher, the person who guides the public and government officials so that more people know what we're doing and why it's important. Or perhaps you're the person who holds us all together, stays the long haul, and makes it so that the rest of us look good. No matter what your contribution and approach is, SSA warmly welcomes you. And Parkfield is a lesson for us all. From the San Andreas Fault Observatory at depth, a newish frontier just northwest of Parkfield, whose data have taught us why some faults in Central and Northern California creep, to long-time and new seismic and geodetic instruments and geologic investigations helping us understand the past and ready to record the future. This time, we are prepared. 2024. That, of course, is this year, the 20th anniversary of the last Parkfield earthquake, and not a prediction. Enjoy the rest of your meeting.
Thank you, Ruth. Before we depart, we have a few quick reminders. Stop by the SSA booth during our afternoon break. The co-chairs, Rick Astor and Siobhan Nicholson, will be there to answer your questions about our October 2025 conference on environmental seismology. And while you're there, feel free to share your best SSA moment and enter our raffle. I look forward to reconnecting with all of you at the Joiner Lecture tonight and the reception. And please note that this reception has been moved to the exhibit hall where you are now. So please enjoy the rest of your afternoon, and don't forget to come back when we start our first oral sessions here in a few minutes. Thank you.